gentlemen, the Punt Pals where the game begins. Betting on sports with our expert spins. From football fields to courtside drills. Punt Pals podcast, we pay the bills. Punt Pals, no bid and play. Join us now every sports day. Tips and picks that never fail. Punt Pals podcast, set yourself.
Hello and welcome to Punt Pals podcast. My name is Robbie Von. Usually I've got the great man Nick Ristovic by my side, but he has taken a little sabbatical this week, and fair enough too, because if you've been listening to the podcast for the last few episodes, well, actually the last 9 months, you would know that he has a little bit going on in the family front at the moment, and this week is the big week where things happen. So I do know behind the scenes what has happened, but do you know what? I'm going to wait till next week to talk more about Nick and his baby news. Has the baby come? Has it not? Are they waiting? I want him to reveal all. So Nick Ristovic taking this week off. Last week we did actually have some pretty big conversations around what the name of the baby would be. So the two options were Mac and Max. I can't wait to know what he's actually decided, well, what him and Sarah have actually decided to run with when the brand new baby comes. So a brother for Van. When Nick does join us back on the podcast, we'll let him reveal all, but it's a really exciting week for him, and I can't wait to hear how everything has gone. So good, little brother for Van and all that sort of stuff as well. So Nico is off this week. I think it's fair enough. I think we'll let him off in that regard. Me solo, we'll keep it pretty short and sharp today. Nico usually does all our racing stuff, so I think I'm just going to take a wide berth on that. Stick to some AFL. We'll do some multis for you, see if we can find a hero of the week. And yeah, we'll rip into it. So short and sharp today. I will just say before we do anything, if you can follow us on the socials, it's hugely appreciated. So Instagram and the Facebook group, search Punt Pals Podcast. You'll find us. It's all pretty easy. Same as your podcast listening platform that you get around. Obviously, you're there right now. So if you can just hit the follow button or subscribe for whatever program you use, bang. You get us every week in your inbox, auto-downloaded, all that sort of stuff, so you don't even have to think about it. You just got to hit play and you're listening to Punt Pals Podcast, which is always a bit of a win. I just thought, given we're recording on a Friday, we'll go through this weekend's matches. Before I do, though, last weekend, just a bit of a weekend recap, I went to the Derby. So, of course, we know Freo on West Coast, it's always a heated game. It's one of those things where we always say that no matter where these two teams are on the ladder, it doesn't matter because they just go all out and thirsty and looking for blood. I mean, in the first quarter, sure, that would probably rung true a little bit, but the cream did rise to the top in this particular derby, and Dockers were just too good in the end. West Coast fired shots early. They should have kicked a few goals, which might have at least changed things going into quarter time. And who knows if they were up there, would they gain some momentum? But yeah, Waterman and Cripps probably missed some really easy shots within the first 5 minutes. They kicked those, plus another couple of easy ones from some young fellas. And who knows, maybe they're ahead at quarter time. But it wasn't to be. The Dockers had a great win. Awesome from Jordan Clark. He played such a good game. Jai Amos probably a little bit unlucky not to win the Glendenning Allen medal with 5-4. But one thing I've noticed about Jai, and I just hadn't picked up on it this year, he is getting big through the shoulders. I reckon he's been in the gym while he's been injured. And, yeah, he's looking good. He's hitting form. Probably started the year a little bit slow. But Jai Amos is absolutely killing it now. So that was pretty cool to go along to the Derby. Big crowd for a Sunday Arvo, by the way, as well. I think it was 54,000 or something. And being a West Coast home game, it shows that Eagles supporters are bloody loyal. You can knock them for anything, but you can't say that they do not come out for their team, because 54,000 on a Sunday afternoon when you got to go to work the next day, you've got to want to be there. So well done to the West Coast supporters. That was really great to see as well. Mate, I've had a fairly quiet week, I guess. Just looking forward to that long weekend. Get up for the dawn service tomorrow, which would be good. We're recording on a Friday. There's one in Aussie Park just near where I live, so that's going to make life very easy. Got a 50th tonight as well. So my buddy David Hunter, who works for Racing and Wagering, is turning the big 5-0, celebrating with a dinner tonight. It's going to be very rough getting up for Anzac Day. I'll tell you what, because the group that we're going out with love a little bit of a beverage, and I can't imagine that we're going to be having a soft night given it's Dave's birthday. So that'll be a bit of fun. The other thing we have to touch on through this podcast as well, the $100 to $1,000 challenge. So this is something we've been doing since the start of the season. We've had a lot of success so far. Nick's last bet got us up to $800, so I was given the challenge to get us to the big 1,000 this week, and we're going to cut it at 1,000, and then we're going to start again. So this is our first little challenge for the year. The big question is, how did I go? And we'll probably delve in a bit deeper next week. So I'm not going to do a bet for it this week. Nick's away, but it just wasn't to be in the end. And geez, it was so tight. So I had a $2 bet. I ended up putting $200 on it because I wanted to go the double there, which would get us to 1,000 from 800. And wow, a nail-biting bet if I've ever seen one. So I had head-to-head on 3 games, came in at around $2.10, something along those lines. Port Adelaide Hawthorn, you would think that would be a walkover, but it was a 3-point game in the end, 109 to 106, I think, from memory. And, Port Adelaide nearly screwed us on the first leg. It was horrible. But it was all good in the end, nail biter. Me and Nico were texting each other hardcore around that on Saturday night. Hawthorn got the chocolates. That was good. Then I had the Adelaide game. They only just got over the line. That was another 2-pointer, Adelaide and St Kilda. So what I would have thought were the 2 easiest games of the round ended up really making us sweat. We got over the line and we thought, all right, the trajectory's good here, but yeah, it was the last one that really got us. Brisbane, Melbourne. You would think Brisbane will give them a bath after the Demons' performance against the Bombers the week before at Gather Round, but no. Melbourne stepped up. The D's got it done. I don't know how this happened. They beat Brisbane by 2 points, meaning that the bet was done. On the last leg, all the excitement, Melbourne win by 2 points, and we are down another $200. Good news about this, we haven't completely killed our money. I only had $200 rather than the 800 on, so we reload again when Nick gets back, and we've got $600 to somehow get to 1,000. So Nico's going to be coming in full steam, no doubt about that, and we'll hopefully get there for you next week if you're playing along at home as well. All right, we'll get into the footy games for this week. We love it. Anzac weekend, it is the big one. Now, last night, Sydney and the Western Bulldogs, it was a bit of a bath in the end, 64-odd points or something like that. Sydney just very good. Obviously, the Western Bulldogs a bit depleted by injury at the moment, but they're not in the form that you would be expecting. I still look at the Western Bulldogs list and I go, how can you not be top 4, top 2 sort of thing? Like, they've got stars on every line. They're so good, but when you get those injuries to guys like Sam Darcy, it does hurt. It really does. And, last night just wasn't their night again, following up from the Gather Round game as well, which just wasn't great against Geelong. So a few rough weeks for the Doggies. Very lucky for Aaron Norton, by the way. He went up for a fly on the way down, did that weird somersault, landed on his neck, could have broken his neck or his back or anything like that. Bulldogs have confirmed he's fine, so that's good news. But Charlie Curnow finally did something in red and white, kicking 6 goals in the end, so well done there to Charlie. If you had any multis on that, very well done. I had a pretty small 5-legger, I think it was, in the end. I missed 2 of the legs, though. I thought it was a lay-down misère, so that was no good for me. Not a good start to the weekend. But, that was last night. So we will move into the games that we still have to go. And this is where things get exciting. So starting off with Friday night footy, and it's probably the worst game of the round. Let's be honest as we roll into a really big weekend. So we'll just quick overview of Richmond and Melbourne. Yeah, I don't usually like betting on bad teams. So Richmond's a team I kind of steer clear of at the moment. Melbourne I have had in that category, but there's guys that are starting to get really consistent, like Harvey Langford, for example. He seems to be getting possessions every week, and Maxi Gawn just does it every week. He gets 20 plus all the time, so you never know that's never going to be in doubt. For me, Melbourne does look the class act here. It goes without saying, 4-0 at the MCG in 2006. We talked about that game against Brizzy. It was epic. Richmond winless through their 6 games. Worst start since 2010. And now they're missing Taranto, Morris Rioli and Sam Banks as well. So they are depleted as it gets. I'm going to take a same game multi. It's a 5-legger. It comes in at $2.37. These are all possession bets. Keziah Pickett, Jacob Hopper and Tom Presti are all 19 disposals. Then we've got Jack Steele and Max Gawn at 20 disposals there as well. So good luck. And I will get all these multis up on our socials as well, Instagram and Facebook there. So if you missed them, you can go to the socials and find them there. The big one is tomorrow, though. Usually Anzac Day doesn't fall on a Saturday. It's pretty rare, once every 7 years essentially. Throw in leap years. I don't know how that works. Maybe it's 6, maybe it's 8. You can do the maths. It doesn't really matter. It's pretty rare. That's the main thing. But it means that there is 4 Anzac Day games this year. Really cool stuff. The big one, of course, is Essendon Collingwood. But the first game is Hawthorn and the Gold Coast. So both teams, going into the season, they were looking good. So Hawthorn's won 5 straight now. Sicily and Moore will be out, which hurts a little bit, but the Hawks are flying at the moment. They're absolutely killing it. They should have smacked Port Adelaide, you would have thought. It didn't happen, but they got the win, and that's what good teams do. So I love the look of Hawthorn at the moment. You can't doubt them. Gold Coast, they're up and down. Coming into the season, they were the premiership favourite, and you can see why. I mean, stars on every line. They've got such a good list there at the Gold Coast. Hardwick's done an amazing job of building that up. They showed last week they can win without Noah Anderson. Yes, it was against Essendon, but they got the job done. Matt Rowett looking really good at the moment. He is playing some great footy. He's kind of just slid back into that side after a few weeks getting used to footy again, I reckon, after missing, I think, the first 4 weeks of the season. So Anderson will be going to Launceston, though, and that's the talk. Whether he plays or not, time will tell, but that's going to be an interesting game. Hawthorn and the Gold Coast, you would think it'd be closer, but I reckon Hawthorn in Tassie, they barely ever lose. They know how to play that Launceston ground, and the colder weather should suit Hawthorn over the Gold Coast. So I'm taking the Hawks there. The big one is Anzac Day as we move on. So yeah, the Bombers. It's been a tough time for them, Anzac Day, for a very long time. It is the greatest day of the year. I absolutely love Anzac Day. All the, should we say festivities, all the things that happen in the lead up, all the ceremonial things to Anzac Day are just amazing. It is the greatest day in football outside of finals, I would say. The bugle, the people that they celebrate every year. You get goosebumps during the start of Anzac Day. Even talking about it now, it's just, it's such a good day. And it's such an important day for Australia as well. I actually, on my radio show, had a chat with Hamish McLaughlin today. This is Friday, so yeah, Friday morning. And he just gave a rundown of what it means to him and like what his day looks like. And it is a day that's really important to him as well. If you wanted to listen to that chat, you're most welcome to search Robbie and Carly on the Listener app. Shameless plug there. And have a listen to Hamish McLaughlin and what he says about Anzac Day. He's a really well-spoken guy, which is no secret. Everybody knows that. He's got an amazing podcast, Unfiltered, and that goes into a TV show as well. So, yeah, if you want to have a listen, please check it out at the Listener app, Robbie and Carly. I'm going to tip Essendon. I think I'm not going to say we're flying, but we're sort of hitting some confidence, playing some good footy, almost did over the Gold Coast in the Gold Coast. Collingwood struggling to find goals at the moment, which is the one knock on them, and it's seriously true. Dacos, obviously the superstar. He was so great last week, so you can never write that man off, and he's won an Anzac medal already. Maybe he can get another one, but I'm going to take the Bombers. I'm going to take an SGM. 6 legs here, 275, all disposals. Nick Dacos, 30. Zach Merritt, 25. Josh Dacos, 23. Parrish, 22. Houston, 18. And Caldwell, 16. So we'll get that up on the socials. Having a look at the other games. So Freo and Carlton is going to be a cracker, obviously. Freo flying at 5-1 after dismantling West Coast 97-41 last week. We mentioned it before. Jordan Clark won best of field and Jai Amos was close with 5 goals. Carlton, it's got to be said, they're in crisis. The focus was on Vossi so hard for the last 4 weeks. They've been winning first halves, falling away. They seem to do that every week. There's just so many problems at Carlton. We had the horrible footage and the really disturbing footage of Elijah Hollands having a mental episode during the last game Thursday night, and that was just horrible to see. He's in hospital at the moment, and all the best wishes with him. Hopefully he's recovering and he's doing okay and all that sort of stuff. But it just speaks to what Carlton are going through at the moment. On pretty much every line, in every part of the Blues, they're struggling. They're in crisis. There's questions over Vossi. I just can't see them travelling to Perth and beating Freo. The Dockers do Anzac Day really well. It's a heartfelt ceremony and pre-game that they do, very similar to Melbourne's Anzac Day. So the Dockers do get that done. Being a WA game, I do have an SGM for that. 6 legs, $3.25. A lot of 15 disposals in this. Zach Williams for the Blues, Corey Wagner for Fremantle, Heath Chapman, all 15. And then I've got Patrick Cripps, Murphy Reid for 20 each, and then Cooper Lord for 15 as well. My tip is Fremantle. For Brisbane, Adelaide, this is a game, and it spins me out. This should be the game of the round, and it probably will be a very good footy match. But going into the season, we talked about Hawthorn and Gold Coast being 2 of the best teams. But Adelaide, they were the minor Premier last year. Brisbane, 3-3. Actually, both teams are 3-3. They're both underperforming. We know Brisbane can claw this back. No dramas at all. I think they lost the last 2 or 3 of the... I'll say that again. I think they lost the first 2 or 3 games of last year and still went on to win the flag. So they can pick it back. There's no dramas. Their list is unbelievable. Adelaide, I'm not sure about. Did they play above where they were at last year? Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But they look okay, but not world beaters. They've got some decent players, but they need to get some superstars into that lineup to help Jordan Dawson and Thilthorpe. I mean, Rochelle, very good, having a bit of a purple patch at the moment, but not overly consistent. Isaac Rankin stepping up would probably help them as well. I don't know. It's an interesting game. I'm going to take Brisbane. It's at the Gabba, so they should get that done. I don't have an SGM for this game. The other games, what do we got? GWS and North. Not a bad match, to be honest. North are playing a fun brand of footy. It's exciting. They've got a midfield that racks up the numbers. They're quite a good team to bet on. At the moment, like this point of the year, round 7, we're sort of in the middle of now that we've had Thursday night footy. I would say North Melbourne, Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs are my 3 favourite teams to bet on when it comes to disposals and getting them into the same game multis and all that sort of stuff. So I like watching North Melbourne. GWS are pretty close to this standard as well. Good possession team. So I think this is going to be an exciting game. Richmond, they know how to beat the bad teams. So if it's Richmond, who they obliterated the other week, Essendon, who else is at the bottom, Carlton, they'll beat all those sides. They'll do it easy. It's when they get to those better teams that they struggle a little bit. GWS are in that weird pocket where I'm not quite sure where they're at. They could be a top 8 side. I don't think they're a top 4 side. So this is on the fence as far as North Melbourne's ability to win this game. I'm going to take GWS. I believe it's in Canberra, but it should be a good one to watch. I'm really looking forward to it. Other game of the round that we'll quickly touch on is the West Coast game as well. West Coast and St Kilda. It's in Melbourne. St Kilda should get it done. Time will tell. I'm going to take a same game multi. 29 disposals for Jack Sinclair. Sam Flanders, 21. Tom McCarthy for West Coast, 20 plus. Harley Reid, 20 plus. And then Tim Kelly, who's been playing some good footy. He's getting very consistent when it comes to multis. 22 plus for him as well. The West Coast Eagles, I'm loving watching them at the moment. They're down the bottom. You know, they're not doing great. Let's be honest. They haven't been for a long time, but you can see the sprouts now. It looked hopeless at the end of last year, and there was just those small hopes that maybe they could bring some more young guys through and they'd click and things would work. And as it turns out, that has happened a bit. The draft picks from the last 2 years are all standing up, and they're all playing some decent footy. The last 3 years, actually, because we'll include Harley Reid in this. But, you know, Bo Allen, he's playing. He's doing pretty well. Then from this year, you've got those guns. So I don't know, Dersma, Duff Titler doing really well. And, of course, Joe Shanahan from last year. So West Coast have recruited well. They're still a long way off, but if they can keep that nucleus together, I like what I see personally. And it's going to be interesting to see if the West Coast Eagles can keep building on that. As I said, that's probably wrapping up the AFL for this week. So we'll give it a siren. Going to skip the racing. That's Nick's wheelhouse. He's really good at that. Why don't we throw in a very impromptu hero of the week, actually? Why not?
I can be your hero, baby. Don't be a hero, mate. Heroes of the week.
I just want to shout out Hannah Green. She's a golfer originally out of WA. I believe she's living over in America now, but she has been absolutely smashing it recently. Over the last month or so, she's won 4 tournaments, including the LA Open on Sunday just gone. So that netted her $1 million, which is a huge sort of boost for her to be able to continue her golf career. She's playing in the Chevron Open or the Chevron Championship this weekend in Houston. It's a PGA tournament. She hasn't tasted success in PGA tournaments since 2019, but she's on a roll and she's a really good chance to have a win this weekend. So she's one of those sports people. She's international. She's from WA, but I've got to admit, I didn't know much about her before the weekend. So it's amazing to get her a bit more exposure. Hopefully Hannah Green can keep growing, and congratulations on being our hero of the week for this week. Good on you, Hannah. Brilliant stuff. Now, I think that's going to wrap us up. We're going to keep this fairly short and sharp today. I've probably gone a little bit further than what I should. And actually, to be completely honest with you, after doing the Brekkie show, I'm on the last of my voice. Like, this is literally the fumes. So I'll wind it up. Round 7 of the AFL should be an absolute ripper. One of the best rounds of the year. Of course, Thursday night done and dusted. I'm recording this on a Friday. So hopefully you have a great weekend on the punt. You enjoy it, gamble responsibly, all those sort of things. And hopefully we'll get Nick Ristovic in next week. Time will tell. No pressure on him, though. If he's got fatherly things to do, I'll do another solo one next week. But we love Nick, and if we can get him back in, then, of course, that is optimal behaviour. But for now, enjoy your weekend, and we will be back next week.
Sports with our expert spirits.